Taylor, good morning. How are you?
It's early for me.
Is it? Whatever. A lot of people say that.
This is early for me. No, Charlotte.
From Charlotte, right?
Yeah.
So, it's not that early, man. Come on. It's what's it? 6:56 your time?
Nah,
Good.
I don't get up till 8:30.
I love it.
No, we I was out networking last night, so I didn't get home from that till a couple minutes after 12, and so like, I mean, hey, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna have to do, but even when I'm at the networking event, I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be a short night.
Yeah, that's awesome. Let's make sure we dive into that because that's something I don't do enough of, and I rely on the family as my excuse, right?
Yeah,
because I spend enough time away from them with the W-2 and whatnot. But let's make sure we dive into that. So, so you just cracked a can. Was that a Bud Light or is that a Pepsi? All right, it's a Pepsi. All right,
Pepsi for the win.
You know, I never started drinking coffee. I'd never drank coffee until we started having kids, and so this is it's a godsend for people who get up early. So I do one thing though. I make myself. I was telling a coworker this yesterday. That I make myself first thing when I get up. I have to drink at least one 16-ounce cup of water. I've already done one. This is my second. Just to make sure that coffee is not the first thing that hits my.
It would normally be water, but in case anyone listening doesn't know, like Jay makes you record this like crazy early, like 7 a.m.
Well, it's not that early, but you were just talking about how you were at networking.
Yeah, I'm a serial networker.
Okay,
and we can dive into that in a little bit. But in any case, hey Jay, appreciate you having me on the show. Appreciate you sharing me with your audience. And
absolutely,
thanks for being here.
I appreciate you being here. So let's take care of some business first. So I told you I stalked you a little bit. I did some research on you. Understand you're active duty or you served in the Marines?
Yeah, I was in the Marines for 8 years.
So thank you for your service. Very much appreciated.
Thanks for the support. We have a great country. I've got to travel the world and see places I'd never want to see again, and then other places that are the most beautiful places in the world. Yeah, and you know, it's a little bit of everything. So
yeah, that's definitely a job I did not sign up for. Number one, I don't think they would have taken me, but so I always, when I find out somebody served in the military, always super appreciative of that. But you and I connected on Facebook. I don't even know how we connected other than it was one of those pop-up, hey, you've got mutual friends. And I'll tell you, I'm glad Facebook has that algorithm in there because you have some of the best posts.
I try. Man.
I don't know. I've probably stolen more comments and inspirational phrases from you than anybody else. So that's it's awesome. So
I normally most of my posts come from comments. Like you know, I engage I engage on my Facebook.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of people that just post something and just let it go. Where I'm more trying to have a conversation.
Yeah.
And so as we have that conversation, it'll inspire another thought. And so it's kind of like same thing. Like I'll end up stealing a comment and making that into the next post.
Yeah.
And it just kind of keeps feeding itself. We talk about networking, and for a lot of people, you know, I try to network 3 times a week. That's my personal goal.
Nice.
And a lot of people, they've got, as you know, family and friends, and they might not have the support that I have. Like I have a great support system. My wife supports what I do 100%. The family supports what I do. But a lot of people, they'll go to this networking event. They can only stay till like not 8:45 on the dot because they have to get back home. And then when they get home, their family's like, oh, you were at that real estate thing. And I'm putting air quotes for everyone listening.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I'm at that thing. I'm at that real estate meeting that's going to help change mine and my family's future forever.
Yeah.
And so we just try to be really supportive of those people that might not have that that back end energy or the support system. And I try to be a support for them. You know, if I'm the one person on the internet that believes in them, I don't think there's anyone listening to this podcast, for sure, anyone listening to this podcast, but I don't think there's anybody that couldn't get 4 rentals. And if you only had 4 your whole entire life, you do better than Social Security.
Yeah. Yeah. We had, it brings up an interesting point. We had our, it's first of the year when we're recording this, and we had our annual 401k meeting yesterday. And I'm like,
I would have loved to have been the bug on the wall in there.
at the end, I decided to pump the brakes and not, there were some HR folks in there and whatnot. And I was like, I'm not going to beat this guy up too much, but I did start asking some questions. And in the end, he was like, this has been really, really good questions, and I walked away from that meeting thinking, there's no way in hell I'm giving this guy my money. I'm going to do the match because they've got a really aggressive match. I asked him yesterday. So here's one of the questions I asked him. I said, so, I don't remember if I prefaced this or whatnot, but I said, hey, 72% of economists are predicting a recession in the next year or two. By 2020, 2021, there's going to be a recession. What do you say to a guy who's read that report and is concerned about investing into the stock market when it's hitting its all-time highs right now? And he definitely dodged the question, and so my follow-up question was, what funds did really well during 2008 and 2010? And his answer was, well, you'll just have to research that yourself. Great.
I thought that, well, to be fair, I don't think that he's allowed to recommend a specific fund.
Yeah. And that was not my question, right? It was specifically, you're correct. There are, there's a couple ways they can set it up, right? You can select your funds, or they actually had
self-managed.
They had a self-managed option. And then they also had a portion where you can fill out this form to fill out how aggressive you are. And then it makes recommendations. Yep. And then you actually have to choose. So yeah, you're right. He can't say you should do this, right? He can give you some guidance, and that's one of those gray areas, but he totally just said, you just have to research that yourself. So,
you were on the right track though. And I recommend this, anyone that we talk about 401ks, don't ever invest in them. However, if they're going to offer you a match, is the only exception, because it's basically like them giving you a raise.
Yeah.
Right. And so you said they were aggressive. I'm going to use just random numbers here, but if they're offering, say, a 5% match, even if you have to invest 10, like, that's a good return, but don't invest $1 over what they're willing to match.
Yeah.
My wife's got a W-2. And so, as different programs come out and we do the math and figure out what makes sense for us and our family, it's always, what is the best return? Again, as with everything with me, it's all about cash flow, right?
Yeah.
And so what is the best return on our money? And in this case, and to your point, max out that match, but don't give them a penny more.
Yep.
And understanding that, yes, the stock market is doing amazing as we sit and record this today, there's going to be a correction. And so you might have these great gains on paper, but until you realize that into an asset that you have control over, such as we have a lot of people that loan us from self-directed IRAs and put that money into an asset like a rental. Until you do that, you don't have anything. And you might be able to say on paper, my account has a net worth of X. Okay, but it's the same thing as gambling. Literally the same thing.
Yeah.
Until you get up from the table, you don't know what you have.
Yeah.
So I'm not knocking in any way, but if you have a match, go up to your max match. Yeah. Don't invest a penny more inside of your company.
Yeah. And the good thing about this is they, for employees who are hired to a certain date, and I fit that criteria, you're vested 100% already. And I'm
perfect.
Like, let's do it. I don't want to wait 5 years for y'all to match or whatever it was. I think it was 3, but yeah, it is cool. So, but yeah, so I don't know. This is how the show goes, right? I get off in these tangents and we just chase it. But the reason
Brother,
why
talk with me is chasing rabbits. When I go up and speak, like literally watching me speak is fun. We speak at a bunch of the local events, and it literally is just like whoosh, in totally different directions. But
well,
yeah,
good. You and I are kindred spirits then. That's fine. That's no, but so I reached out to you through Facebook, right? And I was going to go back and look at the post. And I was like, oh, I've got to get this guy on. But it was something you posted just a few days ago, and it's such great advice, right? And I don't self-manage, but I used to. And so this is along the lines of the post you put out there was today is the 6th. For most of us, it's late notice day. Everyone gets one no matter what. You can choose to file later, but today you give them a notice.
Yeah.
Hashtag follow the system. And that is such great advice, because if you have one of those tenants that is routinely paying late or is late this time, because in January, I think January is usually the month when I did self-manage where I got most of the, hey, I don't have the money this month. Right?
Everyone's recovering from Christmas, because that was a surprise.
Right,
we didn't know it was going to come this year, but fortunately Christmas showed up, and so everyone's recovering. And when I did self-manage, I don't either. In fact, I recommend, if you hear nothing else I say on the call, self-managing was the thing that slowed me down the most in my business, because I don't no one goes out and says, I'm going to become a lawyer, right? No one says, I'm going to go out and become an accountant. We all say we're going to be real estate investors, but we choose to become property managers.
Right.
No, just bring on a professional that is their exact job. And we can maybe dive down that hole later, but I literally slowed myself down by 2 years by self-managing, where what I should have been doing is out finding deals and finding opportunities and growing my business. But with all of that said, if you're going to self-manage, you have to have a system.
Yeah.
We had a set of tenants that at one time, it was a multifamily complex. 1 month, I literally had every single tenant in court for paying late.
Oh, wow.
Every tenant. And it, funny enough, it happened in January. But you have to have a system, right? Everyone gets a notice. Everyone goes to court. Yeah. Even after I'm granted an eviction, I can choose not to enforce that.
Yeah.
And so there's just power in the, guys, we're going to follow the system. You're going to have a late fee associated with, or court fees or whatever you have written into your lease. And then, that's going to be what it's going to be. And at the end of the day, I can't be, you can't be a property manager if you have a bleeding heart. And a lot of us do, and I do as well. Right.
Yeah.
But I hear what you're saying. I feel for you guys. Hey, just get this resolved before we get to court is literally all I'd say. I'm required to give you this notice.
And that's a lot softer way than I've put it in the past.
There's some other.
So it's awesome. It's good.
In fairness, man, I wonder if the guy's ever going to listen to anything I say, but there was one dude at one of my first units that didn't pay, and I needed the money. And we talked about it earlier. I'm a Marine. I literally screamed at this dude. top of my lungs, screamed at this dude, and he didn't deserve it. Yeah. He was just doing the best for him and his family. And I think back to that often, and you're like, it's just a business. Yeah. Here's the paper, and hey, either pay me or don't.
Yeah.
I'm gonna follow my rules, and you're gonna follow your rules, and it'll work out.
And if somebody does have a soft heart, and you know that about yourself, then you just need to skip being a property manager altogether. Don't even start out that way.
Here in Charlotte, I'll give a shout out to my property manager. I have this guy, Michael Bowman in Charlotte, who even last night, he shows up to that networking event, and he's, talking business with me, and he just takes care of everything. We had a funny side story to that is I had a tenant on Friday give me 30-day notice. Okay. Part of the business.
Yep.
And so I had emailed the team and okay, well, hey, set up a showing so I can do so we can do the walkthrough, take a look at what needs to be fixed. In this case, I'm actually I'm going to go do the walkthrough because we might be selling the property. Normally I wouldn't. In this case, I'm going to. And so as he's getting ready to schedule that, they're like, oh, we've decided we want to stay and want to sign another year lease. So what happened in the last weekend that they decided to change their mind? Oh, they went out and looked. They realized they can't find anything comparable, and they want to try and lock in the low rate. Okay, well, if you stay, we're going to bump it up to market rent. So you're not, it's just fun. Tenants are funny things.
Yeah, they are. And I'm glad I do not deal with them. And I have a great property manager too. Matter of fact, so we invest kind of all over the place. I'm located in Pensacola, Florida, and it's an extremely hot market. We haven't been able to find deals in this market for a couple of years now. And but I will say that I found an awesome property manager in Mobile, Alabama, and I look for properties there, right? Because I know that property manager is so solid. Matter of fact, I've got a call with him today, and I've got I've got a self-directed IRA back to the 401k, and I've got some money there that's kind of burning a hole in my pocket. I need to put it to work, and I'm hoping he's got something going on that I can dive into. But
well, Jay, you point out all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Hey, so for anybody listening, we have a couple things. Jay is clearly a buyer in both Pensacola and Mobile. So if you've got a deal, your first call needs to be to Jay.
I appreciate that.
He points out a second really important thing. Guys, you don't have to invest where you live.
Yeah.
I do virtual wholesale deals all the time with people. One of my favorite ones was the other way. Somebody had virtually wholesaled to me in Charlotte. I again going to a networking meeting, and the meeting got canceled on me somehow, which leads to another great story. But I showed up to a meeting that didn't exist, basically, and I was kind of frustrated. But an email comes popping across, and they're like, "Hey, I've got this opportunity." That's a couple blocks from where I'm at. I cruise over there. I pull up in front of the house, and I call him immediately.
Yeah,
and I say, "Hey, I'll take it." I want to say it was 20 grand for a house or something in Charlotte. That's a great deal. He's like, well, I need you to see the property first. Okay, I'll be there in 10 minutes.
Yeah, dude, I'm standing outside of it.
I pull in front of the house. I'll take it. Okay, we'll go inside. The lockbox code is okay. I'm like rolling my eyes at this point. Go to the walkthrough. It's, in decent condition, needs some work. Great. I literally know who my buyer already is for it.
Yeah.
I'll take it. He gets me the contract. I make one call to make sure somebody's coming to a networking event. And then I go to my networking event that night, and I sign the contract and made, I don't know, $5 grand or something in 3 hours of work.
That's awesome.
Virtually wholesaled. And the funny part about it is that other people, they would have taken time and done all this research, and guys, just take the action.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It is a big thing that I see, I don't know. I don't know why, but we all fall victim of this, especially when you're starting out, is that, oh, should I do this? Should I do that? Just do it. Just do whatever it is. One of the things that I've focused on myself is, and I'm forgetting the book. You may know this book, but it basically says it's the one thing, right?
That's my number 3 book.
Yeah. So what's number 1 and number 2?
So we'll give the list for everyone listening. The number 1 book of all time that everyone in America should read is The Richest Man in Babylon.
Okay.
Hands down, the best financial advice for the largest percentage of people that would do the best good is The Richest Man in Babylon.
Okay. I struggle with that book. I don't know why, but I think it's because I tried to consume it on audio, and the narrator, I just couldn't. Anyway,
there's a couple different narrators. There's a version on YouTube for free. Okay. So anyone listen to this, it's 4 hours. It's told in parable format, so it's like the same format the Bible is told in, how they tell a story to make a point.
Right.
Rich Man of Babylon. Number 2 is The Alchemist.
Okay.
Number 3 is The One Thing. Number 4 is The 10X Rule. And then number 5 is Cashflow Diaries by Jay Massey. In disclosure, number 5 is the first real estate book. And so the other ones are like mindset and financial freedom to get you in the right place to start wholesaling.
Like it.
Yeah. They're great starting points. A lot of people when they want to work with me are like, hey, how do I get started? Well, go read a book. Oh, well, I read the synopsis. Okay. If you won't read a 4-hour book, you're not going to do the hard stuff I need done. So Good luck.
Good luck, man. Sorry, I got nothing for you. Yeah, it's
Literally.
yeah. You probably fall in the same boat. But when people, the more conversations you're having, the more, and you do a lot more networking than I do. But people will want you to mentor them and coach them, right?
24/7. Literally, I get three texts or calls a day.
Yeah, and it's funny how when you task them, okay, here's what I need you to do, and they don't do it. Like, all right, that was your shot. I don't know if you give them second chances or not, but I
don't.
tend not to.
I actually have stepped away from mentoring a little bit, and that's not to say that I still don't help people as needed, but I used to actually do like paid mentoring and some other stuff. And what I came to realize is if you're not going to do it for yourself, you're not going to do it for me. And here's what I'm going to paraphrase some of the items from actually the meeting last night. A lot of people, they don't want a mentor. What they want is they want somebody that they can ask a question to. Okay, well, you have Facebook.
Yeah.
Like choose 3 people on Facebook and value their opinion. Or they want to be told what to do. Okay, if you're a entrepreneur, you shouldn't need anyone to tell you what to do. And if you need someone to tell you what to do, you're not an entrepreneur. It's that simple.
Yeah. Well, and some of the things that I run across too is they want somebody to do it for them.
100%. And it's such a line
shit out of me more than anything.
It's such a line of like, man, I really want to help, but I can't want it for you. I have a sign for anyone. I don't know if you post the video, but I have a sign sitting in the back of my room here, and it says, "We'll work for millions."
There you go.
It's like a homeless sign, right?
It does look like a homeless sign.
No, that's what it is. And so, guys, I'm going to work for my millions.
Yeah.
I don't need someone to give it to me. I don't need, sorry, I'm smiling here. I hear my son just got up in the other room. And so the boss he's an excited person in the morning. Anyways, I don't need someone else to work for it. I've got my kids and my wife that's my motivation to work for it and build what we're building and, change our family tree.
Yeah.
Where, maybe I should jump into it at the beginning, but guys, I grew up in LA. Like mom and dad were teachers. We didn't have there wasn't any extra money. The bill collectors calling on a daily basis to try and get some bill paid. And like, if you didn't recognize the number, you didn't pick up the phone type thing. So, it's just a different lifestyle that I want my family and, the circle around me to live a different lifestyle. My son has been out of the country. He has a passport. Like, nice. How many people listening have never been out of the country? My son's 18 months old and has been out of the country.
Yeah.
My son's 18 months old and has stamps on his passport. Like it's,
wow.
I didn't get a passport till I was 30 something.
Yeah. I was mid-20s for sure.
And it's just he's going to live such a different lifestyle that it's amazing and fantastic. I have to work to make that happen.
Yep. Back on the mentoring piece, I'm with you. I don't do paid mentorships. I do have that mastermind, right, where people come, and it's essentially just a gym membership, right?
Well, masterminds are different, though. Masterminds are not mentorship, right?
They're not, correct. Yeah, there is a huge difference. Quite frankly, I think the best mastermind calls that we have are the ones that I'm not on. And I've told this to the group is that when we've got a couple of people that'll lead those. I hear your son too. That's awesome.
I have a really good mic, and so we'll leave that one in. If it gets annoying, we'll edit the rest out.
Yeah, that's fine. Hey, I've probably got another 20 minutes before my crew starts waking up and get going too. So, but yeah, it's more like it's a gym membership, right? And you want that accountability because, quite frankly, I don't have a gym membership. What I do is enough for me. Right here at the house, quite frankly, I'm really out of shape. I don't even know why I'm talking about gym memberships, but anyway,
you have a mental gym membership as your mastermind,
and that's it. We've got people. Most of them are on Facebook. Most of them I've connected through Facebook, and it's more than just a post or a comment. It's a virtual live session like we're doing right here. Mm-hmm. So. I highly recommend the mastermind way, right? If you don't join us, join one, get into some networking events. I imagine there's a local RIA for where you're at and where that happens?
We're so blessed in Charlotte. Like, and I hate bragging
Yeah.
about it, but I
Oh,
literally,
brag
in
away,
fact,
man.
when I get done on this call with you, I'm leaving to go to a breakfast meeting.
Nice.
And so in Charlotte, there's 15 meetings you could go to a week. Literally, it's like AA.
Wow. Yeah.
And there's probably 8 different solid groups that host different sets of meetings. And so the funny story that we were going to get back to is that meeting that was canceled. What had happened is I had gone on Meetup and joined all these Meetup groups. And one of the groups didn't keep their calendar up to date properly. So I show up to a Golden Corral, and I am
Gotcha.
not, nothing wrong with Golden Corral. I am not a Golden Corral person. That's not me.
I'm not either, but it's okay.
So I grabbed my Pepsi and like a slice of pizza, and I'm sitting in the back, like waiting for anyone to show up, and no one did. Frustrated about that. And do this in your local market if it doesn't exist yet. On the Charlotte, like we have a general Charlotte networking page for real estate investors. One, if you don't have a general networking page for your area, go form that.
Yep.
Part 2 of that was I then took all of the local events and I put them on one calendar. And so there's a Google Calendar for all of Charlotte. And if there's a meeting that even if I'm not going to go to it, like there's meetings I don't go to. That's probably not true, but there's meetings I don't go to just because of timing. We'll say that.
Yeah.
It's not like I dislike with the content, but they're still on the calendar. And so every person asks about a meeting. Yeah, here you go. Here's 15 networking opportunities. Tell me why you can't make one of them.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't do mornings? Okay. There's 47 at night.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't do evenings? There's 3 morning meetings. You can't do any of it? There's 2 of them that are virtual.
Yeah.
Tell me where you keep making excuses.
Well, quite frankly, that's why I created the mastermind, because it's virtual, and I don't know how many kids do you have? Sorry, I asked you that when you were taking a sip. So.
And holding fingers up doesn't help anyone. For anyone not viewing the video, Taylor held up. Please let the record reflect. Taylor held up one finger.
One finger. So I've got 3. They're all 5 and under, and so it's a little bit of a hassle, right?
I don't know how you get out of bed in the morning. Good for you. That's
I have an amazing wife. Back to that part where you have a significant other who fully supports what you're doing, right? Without her being on board, none of this would happen, right? So, but I don't go to those networking events because it's time away from them. So I did create the virtual mastermind to where all the calls are hosted here, right? So we may hear them scream here in a little bit, and that's okay.
Perfect, man. That's cool. And again, how different is their life going to be than yours was, right? Like
it's already tremendously different.
And
that's not. And just to clarify, that's not a knock on my parents. My parents gave us everything that we needed
and could. They did the best they could, and we had to. When we started, I have a twin brother, so Taylor
and you invest with him, right?
I do. Taylor wears a hoodie, Ed wears a hat. So
okay.
If you run into one of us, that's how you know. But we had to, when we first got started, we had to pull our parents aside and be like, guys, hey, we're going to say things that might sound like we're being negative, and we're not. It's just they told us the line of go to college, get a job, get married, have some kids, work for 40 years, and you can retire with a gold watch, right? Like that's what was taught to us. And it's not that they knew any different. That's just what they knew. And guys, we just all know that system is now broke. Yeah. You can't do that today. We know there's a better way. I know there's no one on this call or on this podcast that couldn't be financially free in 5 years.
Yeah.
And I just, man, I can't implore you enough. Just go do the work. And hey guys, I'm brave. If you need someone to talk to, obviously Jay's mastermind's the starting point. But if you want a quick consult, 704-728-7880. Taylor Peugh's cell phone. Call me.
Tell me that number one more time. 704.
Jay's saving his phone. 704-728-7880.
And I'll make sure to put that in the show notes as well.
Hey, cool. I'd love to chat with anyone. I'll point you in the right direction. Like Jay said, I don't actually do a ton of mentoring. One, because it would be cost prohibitive for you to actually get the amount of time you'd need. And 2, if you're not going to do it for yourself, you're not going to do it for me.
Yeah.
But I'll point. with all that said, I'll still point you in the right direction. I'll give you some tips, but man, I need you to want it bad enough for you. I
Yep.
need you to want it bad enough for your kids.
And one of my partners, he and I were interviewed on Bigger Pockets, and he gave out his cell phone number too. And during the show, and he didn't tell me he was going to do it. And I was like, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Look," he goes, "the hundreds of thousands of people or whoever's going to listen to this, maybe 1% is going to actual call, maybe."
Yeah,
And he's right. He's
I
right.
get 3 calls per podcast I do.
Yeah.
And normally it's just, hey, Taylor, I really appreciate the content. And guys, man, in all seriousness, that means so much. Like, I don't need your validation, but guys, the fact that I know that I'm helping somebody change their family tree, that's the reason we do it. If I change 100, if I change 100 people, Jay changes 100 people, and those 100 people change 100 people, you only have to go one more before you get to 1 million people's lives changed.
Yep.
So
it definitely, it is very rewarding to wake up and have those emails or texts or something. Hey, thank you, and for what they're talking about. It is part of the reason why we do it, right?
Yeah. One of the coolest ones, I posted something the other day, and some dude comes on and he says, "Hey, Taylor, I don't do anything in your industry. I'm not in real estate. I just wanted you to know I really appreciate what you do." And it was so-and-so from Pakistan. Wow. Guys, the dude's in Pakistan. Like, how cool is it? How cool is what we do? And, he found inspiration in my quotes and inspiration in my Facebook stuff. If you want to see that and you're not on my page, I'm actually maxed out at 5,000 friends. I try to add people. Like Jay said, when I'm adding people, I'm always looking for who has the most mutual friends, because it means that they're on the same journey as me.
Exactly.
But if you wanted to, you could go to Jay's page or my page, and there's a follow thing where you could just follow my posts, and it'll show those to you as well.
And I'll make sure to put that on the show notes as well.
Yeah, cool.
So you're in Charlotte. Do you invest just in Charlotte? I realize there's a lot of business stuff that we didn't get into that I normally get into. So
we'll need a part 2.
Yeah, let's back up for a minute and talk about your resume as a real estate investor, right? You're focused on buy and hold right now, but you mentioned doing some virtual wholesaling. But you're in Charlotte. Do you invest just in Charlotte, or do you have multiple markets you focus on?
Yeah, so primarily we're in Charlotte. I'm now actually branching into another local market, Myrtle Beach. Okay. And trying to find, in fact, I have some opportunities I have to go look at down there. So it's, for me, it's about a 3-hour drive. I have to figure out when, probably this week, I'm going to get down there either Thursday or Friday and get those looked at. But primarily for everyone listening, we're investors in Charlotte. And not because Charlotte's the best market there is, but I find so much opportunity in my home market that I don't have to go anywhere else. For most people, you drove by more opportunity yesterday than you could monetize in a lifetime. Yeah. You just didn't know it, right? That house that has the overflowing mailbox, that house with the tall grass. My city tracks whose grass is cut by the city. Well, those might be people in need of some support.
Yeah. I have this argument with my CPA at least once a year that every mile that I drive is for research.
No. Well, so that's why you have 2 cars, right?
Exactly.
My car, every mile I drive and every meal I eat is real estate related. Yep. And here's my challenge. Find one person I've talked to in the last year that didn't know I was real estate. Yeah. Go find one. My Uber drivers, when I'm riding in the car with them, hey, that's a captive audience. And on top of that, it's a captive audience who drives around all day. Yeah. I guess you have a new bird dog.
Exactly. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Well, I've tried doing the male people for bird dogs. Yeah. And I've never found one that successfully wanted to do it, or they were scared they were going to get in trouble. So
yeah, that would, I could see where that may cross the line a little bit. Conflict of interest. I don't know. That's a great idea, though.
all I'm telling you to do, UPS delivery drivers, Grubhub, like any of these stuff where people drive it. But yeah, so primarily we're in Charlotte.
I appreciate you using the mute button there. I do that so often. And you're right. The video, I don't use the video, but if like you just saw me blow it.
Hey, I have a,
I appreciate the mute button. I'm just so I appreciate that.
I have a little bit of a cough, and so I'm trying to fight through it, but
Yeah.
I'll start that again. Yeah. So Charlotte's our primary investing market. What we have found is that there's a lot of people that need our help. And so there's a bunch of lists out there. The best one for me personally is, if I was getting started today, what would I do? I would go door knock pre-foreclosures in your market. Don't call, don't do anything else. You can do that. Like, as you scale, you'll have to start doing that because you can't door knock every door. But if I was just starting out today, I would go door knock the pre-foreclosures and then drive for dollars. That's it. That's all I would do. If I was driving for dollars, I'd go get 50 leads a day, go get those 50 leads skip traced today and call them today. That would be a complete cycle of action. And I would do that every day. If you did that in your local market, you would have a deal in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
If in 2 weeks you don't post the results in Jay's mastermind, post the results to me, you're not doing something right.
Yeah.
It's
I'm going to lean on you to tell them what they did, because I've never done skip tracing. I've never done wholesaling. That's just, I tried it when I very first started. I bought a list, quickly discovered that my criteria was not accurate.
That happens.
I flipped the equity on the properties when I did it. I believe it wasn't that. What was it? It doesn't matter what it was. It was wrong.
There, you made an error.
Yeah, I made an error, and I was like, this is not for me. But it was enough to, I was hesitant because I don't have a very outgoing personality, right? Mm-hmm. Part of the reason why I don't go to so many networking events is I'm an introvert. And when people hear that, they're like, but you have this podcast. I am extremely comfortable behind a camera and a keyboard.
Yeah.
It's something I can control. It's usually one-on-one. You put me on a crowd, I shut down pretty quickly. I
am actually the ultimate introvert.
Yeah.
My very first meeting, I'm literally hiding in the corner. Like,
yes,
literally.
Me too.
And what I've come to realize, and I'm so passionate about real estate, it's the one thing that's pulled me out of being an introvert. Yeah. And so like in real estate world, I can go speak on a stage. I get hyped up, I get the energy. And as soon as I'm done, I'm like, I have to go hide in my closet and I have to go hide in my office here for 3 days and decompress from it.
Yeah.
But I get such a high from being around people and sharing the experience and growing, their self-awareness that I fight through it to do it. But I challenge anyone that's listening to this and has the ability, you should start a local meetup. My first meetup we started was in an IHOP.
Yeah.
I went to an IHOP and I said, hey guys, what's the slowest night you have? Wednesday. This IHOP happens to have like a side room kind of thing. Hey, if I brought 30 people in on a Wednesday night, could you guys support that? We sure could.
Yeah. They'd love to have that. Yeah.
The meeting still goes on now. And it's 5 years later, every Wednesday at an IHOP here in Charlotte, there's a meeting.
Yeah.
And that grew into a bunch of other stuff. But
so back to your portfolio, or leading to that, how long have you been investing?
Yeah. The short version of Taylor is I was laid off and fired twice.
I want to get into that because the comment I heard was I was laid off and fired twice in the same week by the same company. Did I get that right?
Yeah. So I was laid. This one's weird. I had a job and we both agreed I wasn't coming back to work. So I didn't want to be there and he didn't want me there. I don't know what that counts as.
Okay.
He gave me a week of severance.
Okay.
So I had a job the next day. And so second job, working there for a month or two. And I guess there was someone's job that was to make sales, right? In every organization, you have to make sales. He didn't know how to do his job. So the shift I was on, got called into work on a Friday and told, hey, don't come, or on Thursday and said, hey, don't come back to work tomorrow. Okay. So I went home and cried about it over the weekend. That Tuesday, they called me back and said, hey, come back to work. I'm like, okay, cool. I come back in the next day, either Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever it was. And I'm the only person they'd call back out of that whole shift. And so I'm working on this new shift. And that next Friday, that shift got laid off. So I got laid off by the same company twice in 2 weeks. And I told him, I'm like, guys, like literally hiding my car because I'm concerned about it getting towed. Like my cell phone's about to be shut off. $3 to my name. And I'm like, guys, don't take this personal, but if I leave today without a job, I can't come back.
Yeah.
And so I went to my mentor, who's a millionaire in real estate. And I said, I don't care what you need done. I didn't ask her to mentor me. I didn't ask anything. I said, I don't care what you need done. You need paint delivered. You need house pictures. Whatever you need, I'll do it. She said, okay. So she said, okay, we'll show up at my house at, again, to the early thing. I actually got up early back then. I was hungry back then.
This is not early, Taylor. Come on, man.
So got up and was at her house at 7:00. And I think the first day was, hey, go deliver paint an hour away. She gave me some cash for gas. I put the paint in my car and delivered it. And then when I got back, guess what? I got to ask a couple questions of a millionaire for a couple minutes.
Now, how did you find this millionaire real estate investor?
A networking event. She was the lead of one of the networking events, and she'd given her cell phone. So I just, hey, how do you need help? It turned into eventually me getting paid, I don't know, something really exciting, like $15 an hour to help her. And
but the bottom line is you took action. Back to one of the very first things that we talked about was you took action. You just did something.
Yeah. Right? So it turned into doing a rehab with her, actually. I found a great deal. As we're at that rehab, I pull up in the front yard. I'm assembling some IKEA cabinets. Don't ever trust a contractor to do that. They're going to screw it up. So I'm assembling some IKEA cabinets, and a work truck pulls up out front.
Yeah.
And kind of looked like my car was in the way. So I walk out front, and it wasn't a work truck. It was a tow truck towing my car. So I had my car repossessed from
the job site? From
the job site with my millionaire mentor standing right there.
Wow.
You want to talk about a humbling experience.
Yeah.
That was and then Uber wasn't a thing then. So my millionaire mentor had to drive me an hour and a half out of the way to drop me off at my house.
It's pretty awesome mentor, by the way.
It was awesome mentor. She's good people, but it was a humbling experience. And like, it's funny, the jokes now, but at the time, like that was very real. Yeah. Right. I'd been laid off. My car was just actually twice. I had been working for her, so she fronted me the money that I had earned to get my car back and some other stuff. But like, at the time it was very real. So there's people listening. They're like, man, I'm in that boat. You can do this.
Yeah.
Right. Like there's opportunity. You drive by, there's a vacant house down the street from you. Guys, just go look up the owner and call them.
Yeah. I will say though, we are in a hot job market, and if you're getting laid off right now, something's wrong, and you probably don't need to be working that job anyway.
For sure. And today that's true. Yeah. In another 2 years, it's not going to be the case, guys.
I agree. I think there's something that's going to happen, for sure. We'll see. Maybe you and I are wrong. We'll see.
I pray to be wrong, but I think I'm right.
Yeah. Yep.
The economy is going cycles, and it has to happen for the health of the economy. And we see currently this will lose kind of context as we get further and further out from today, but we see money being pumped into other markets, billions and billions of dollars being propped up to uphold other markets. And as we go through, for us, it's, 2020. So we have an election year.
Yeah.
And during election year, there's one side of the equation that wants the economy to do real well, one side that wants it to do terrible. Yep. And so there's a battle going on.
Yeah.
But that's going to continue. And so through the end of the year, we'll probably have a pretty strong economy.
Yeah. I think at least until the re-election happens, everybody's going to be fine for sure.
I don't have a fight in it one way or the other. Literally, I don't know anything about politics. I try to stay entirely out of it. And none of that influences my politics of my house. Like the money that's wasted or spent in, Washington doesn't influence my house budget. And I think a lot of people need to stop focusing on what they're doing and focus on your stuff first. Go make yourself $1 billion and then be able to change the dynamic of the conversation.
Yep. That's true.
There's
one of the best things I did, this is probably 15 years ago now, sorry to cut you off, was to take something out of Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Work Week and turn the news off. I have not watched mainstream media news, and I don't know how long. I mean, it's been literally 15 years. Now, if a story comes up, I want to get the 15-minute snippet before they start pounding it into you. I'll do that, but I don't watch anything. It's
I
been
I think he's
such an
got
incredible lift.
I think he's got a saying in there. It's something like, and I forget what he calls it, but if it's a big enough news story, I'm going to hear about it.
Yeah, it's going to
Right.
make it to you, right?
Today we're currently having the thing with Iran. Like that's
Yep.
going to be what it's going to be. And so like, I know about it because enough people are talking about it.
Yes,
But
exactly.
following an independent news, or we were watching the TV the other day and it says it's Sunday afternoon. We were watching the football game actually. And the ad comes on, tune in tomorrow morning for the weather. Wait, you want me to wait
What?
14 hours? I have the weather literally on my watch.
Watch, yeah. Yeah.
You want me to wait 14 hours? But
Oh, it's funny.
we don't follow the mainstream media. What I will say is that personally, whatever you believe, I think if Trump is reelected, we continue to have a stronger economy for a little bit of time. I
Right.
think if whoever the Democrats is elected, that there will be a contracting of the market in a very short succession,
Yeah.
as employers won't have the funds available through tax breaks and blah blah blah, whatever. Like I'm not going to go all into it all.
Right.
I
Yeah.
think if a Democrat is elected, that the contraction will happen sooner.
Yeah, and I even think if Trump's reelected, I think that there will be a small correction. Right.
Yeah,
I think we'll get past the reelection, and then a small correction will happen. That way, the economy boosts again, and Trump goes out of his presidency with a real strong economy.
that sounds like a realistic plan. And
Yeah.
there's other people that are
We'll see.
forecasting 2023, 2024 is when the recession hits, because that'll be the end of Trump's presidency.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it has any influence on me, but not that it doesn't have influence on me, but
Right.
I'm not like immune to it somehow. But on the grand scheme, I can't change any of it.
Yeah.
I think a Democrat in office is going to be better for my business, because there'll be more opportunity to solve problems of people in real need.
Gotcha.
And what we do is solve problems. So
Yep.
there's people that won't be able to afford to pay mortgages. How do we
I've
help
never
them?
looked at it that way.
It's what we do is solve problems. Yeah. And so there'll be more problems to solve.
Yep. So it's amazing how quickly 45 minutes will go by. So, but there's one thing I want to make sure we talk about. You mentioned him earlier, is your brother Ed. So you invest with your brother, right?
Yeah. We actually have a really great relationship. And I'm fortunate to have, it's not only my brother, he's my twin brother. And so,
Okay.
yeah, I get the opportunity to invest with him, and we have a really good time.
The reason I bring that up, so I have a brother too. Now we're not twins. We're 13 months apart. We fought like cats and dogs growing up, and I'm sure you and your brother did too. And we had
It does happen.
Yeah, it does happen.
We still do.
Yeah. We had the opportunity, my brother and I had the opportunity to work together a couple of different companies, and at the end of that second company, we just said, look, it's probably just not meant for us to work together, right? And
there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with it, but I'm like, I've tried to introduce him to what we're doing, and not very receptive, right? There's a lot of people out there like that. He's not the only family member that's like that. You mentioned parents, same as my parents. My dad retired recently from being lieutenant commander in the local fire department. My mom recently retired from being an office manager, very middle class. So their mantra, they didn't even want us to go to college, right? Talking about your parents and their story was go to college. Ours was like, look, go learn a trade, get a good job.
Hey, they probably gave you the better advice in today's market.
I've said so many times that the best advice my dad ever gave me that I did not take was when I was in high school. And he said, look, because, most firemen have a second job, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
that's why they do it. Because you work 8 to 12 hours or 8 to 12 days a month.
Yes.
And then you're off.
Yeah. The investing fireman, I don't know if you know Mike Webb. He's got it going on. But in high school, my dad's, and he had all the connections too, but he said, look, and as your sophomore year, get your license, take that summer and work for an electrician. The next summer, take it and work for a plumber. and the third summer worked for just a general carpenter. And
It's a
he had
great
all these,
advice.
and I didn't take him up on it. I was like, nah, I don't want to do that. And
That is, man, if that needs to be like the liner of the show right there. That's the
yeah,
best advice.
and that is the best advice I ever received from him that I did not take. And I'm thinking, now that we're in this real estate biz, how much that would have helped me, just understand the business that much more.
Well,
But
we own a carpet cleaning company, right? And
oh yeah,
if somebody was to go figure out how to get a carpet cleaning truck, it'd be, I don't know, probably 70 grand all in. Like, it's not a huge investment. You'd make right about $100 an hour
yeah,
cleaning carpets. You don't have to be, you don't have to have a billion master's degrees and stuff. And there's nothing bad with that. I'm not knocking anyone that has that, but if you just wanted the trade, just clean carpets.
yeah. But you're right. But that was me. I wanted to have the degrees. I wanted all this, and I think I'm better for it. But I wish I would have taken him up on that advice.
Yeah.
But to that point, my brother and I were definitely not as close as you and your brother. And he doesn't invest or.
Yeah, and we have other family members that we've invited on the journey, and they're on a different path than us, and there's nothing wrong with that. We invited
my parents, and they politely said no.
Yeah, we invited one of our.
Fine. There's nothing wrong with that, right? It's not for them. It's not for everybody, but it's also, they were raised in a different time, right? I mean, it was the whole pension thing. Work 40 years one place, get the gold watch, whatnot. That was very much the speech we got. So
yeah, we have a family member, and he was unemployed, so we invited him to come out for the summer. Told him I'd pay him, I'd give him a place to stay, I'd make sure he was fed, and we'd teach him how to do what we did. And instead of doing that, he worked at a water park.
Good for him.
and you're like, and that family member has kids, and you're like,
yeah,
I don't know if that was the best. Like, I'm sure it was, as always, people are doing the best for them. But man, how different could their life have been if they came out and, saw what we did, how we do what we do.
It wasn't meant for them, right? So
it's the eighth of the, no.
And if you're one of those people who try to bring other people along with you, you cannot get upset when somebody says no.
I can't do it for you. It's the 8th, and we already have a contract. So in a week,
the
8th of January, in 1 week, I have, maybe I shouldn't put a date on there. You guys, we might not release for months, but in 1 week, we have a contract. Okay. Sell one contract for $5,000, do it again next week.
Yep. That's awesome. So the reason I bring up your because there's so many podcasts out there about talking about investing with family members, not investing with family members. Any advice for somebody who has a brother or sister or sibling that they're trying to work together? What are some of those things that you and your brother fight about, and how do you guys resolve those issues?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we have disagreements. It's just going to happen. What I have to realize is that we're building something that's going to last for 300 years. And so what color?
Did you come up with this phrase, by the way?
I don't know. Nothing I say is original. Let's just assume that.
Me either. All right. So that is my big goal, right? Is to create 300 years of generational wealth. I got it from somewhere on Facebook, and I'm willing to bet $1 it was you.
I'll take the assignment.
Yeah, there you go.
No, but I want to create for 300 years, and people are like, well, why not 400? Right? Snarkily. Well, if it doesn't last 300, then nothing else matters. Like, if it can prolong 300 years, it can withstand anything.
Yeah.
How different are we today than the environment was 300 years ago? So 300 years in the future, we'll have that change times something. Like, it'll be exponentially more. But when we're planning for Friday, right, changes matter in that short time span, right? Like, if we're trying to get to Vegas by Friday, well, we got to start taking action today. And it makes a difference if I turn left or right coming out of my neighborhood. When I have 300 years to get there, it doesn't matter. Like, the disagreements we have are so minuscule because we have such a long-reaching vision. What color we paint a wall has zero effect when I'm planning for 300 years. If I'm planning for just this one flip and we have to do one flip together, then it matters what color we paint the walls because we need a resale. But when we're planning for 300 years, it just doesn't matter. And so when you approach it from like that perspective of, guys, there's so little things that actually matter that you need to get upset about, he can just be right. And he does the same thing for me. Like there's just such, hey, Taylor's right on this one.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, I'm not sure which one's right. We segregate our business. So like he's got his projects. I've got
another cough coming. It's all right, man.
Radio edit.
Yeah.
So he, you know, we've got different projects we work on. So Ed's got his projects and I've got my projects. When his projects come in, he has 9/10 of a vote on it. I can weigh in on it and we'll check in from time to time and, okay, how's that project going?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, here's what I think. And he'll just pull up the trump card and go, hey, this is my project. This is what I'm doing. And there's like, I mean, we have a little bit of give and take in it. Like
sure.
we call it, I can come up with a veto, right? Like I can veto something if I have to. He can veto something on my projects, but in general, it's his project.
Yeah.
If somebody was to call me on it and be like, hey, what's Ed doing? I don't know.
Yeah.
Give him a call. Let me know. Let me know what he's doing because I know that he's doing the best for us and our family.
Yeah.
And I'm doing the same.
And you make a very interesting point. Something I have not thought about is that you say he gets to be right sometimes and I get to be right sometimes. And I think when I think back to when my brother and I worked together and we decided, hey, this isn't going to work. I had to be right always.
I'm okay never being right.
And I have grown a lot since then. Sometimes I want to, and it wasn't more or less, I need to be right. Is I just want to have the credit, right? And now I don't care.
We don't care who gets the credit.
Who gets the credit. Now, and that has been one of the best things for me to grow personally. And this may be another one of your quotes, but you can't imagine how much you can accomplish when you don't care about who gets the credit.
That is not my quote. I don't know who it is. Hey, we'll put it in the show notes. That is a quote, but it's guys, I don't care who gets the credit.
Yeah. What
I do care is that we continue on a daily basis to increase either our cash on hand or the cash flow that we receive.
Yeah.
And if anyone just did that for their whole entire life, they would be fine. The problem we get into is we get in negotiating, we call it, I'm going to even use the wrong term here, but it's like bracketing or benchmarking, right? Price anchoring. Yeah. In negotiating, we call it price anchoring. And we get set on, well, minimum wage is $7.50 an hour, right? And so for the rest of your life, what you do is you compare your wage to minimum wage for the rest of your life. And you think, well, the further I get away from minimum wage, the better I'm going to do. I'm making $30 an hour. And you're like, $30 an hour isn't anything. You should be focusing on $300 an hour.
Yeah.
But because we're taught to price anchor and $7.50 was the price anchor, I'm doing great. Point. Yeah. And so we're just trying to grow our cash and our cash flow. We use creative solutions to do that. We buy, we don't even see that we buy real estate. We buy income streams. Most of our income streams happen to be in real estate.
Yeah.
But we have businesses as well that do the same thing and, you know, continue to grow and look for those opportunities.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, again, love it. Love it. Taylor, I've we've got to wrap up here, man. Thank you for joining me so early this morning. I laugh because it's not early for me. I know it's early for you, but I do appreciate it and doing it in such quick time because I think I reached out just a couple of days ago and you said, oh, yeah, let's do this. So,
I'm going to reach out to Jay just for the team listening. I'm going to reach out to Jay tonight at like 11:30 and be like, hey, I've got a couple more hours, Jay. Just want to see if you want to jump on the podcast and see the reverse response.
You will not get a response.
Awesome. Hey, well, again, for anyone looking to reach me, yes. Taylor Peugh, I'm lifting it up so you can see, but we don't have video. Our podcast is the Kings and Queen City. You can find us on the socials under that. So Facebook, Instagram, all of that, Kings and Queen City. Taylor Peugh, my number is 704-728-7880. Tell me that you saw me. Tell me that you heard me on Jay's stuff, and I'd love to interact with any of you. Jay, thank you so much for the platform and allowing me to be here.
Absolutely. I think you're challenging me without knowing this. I've never given out my cell phone number. And I'm like, man, can I have a guest on that does that and not do it myself? So
I mean, it's scary
I'll
at
think about
first.
that.
Yeah, it's scary at first, but here's the thing. Like, people in our business talk a lot about like getting phone numbers for campaigns and stuff, and like,
Yeah.
I just have one number.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to remember 14 different numbers. My wife calls that same number. So here's the deal. I can block your call if you become annoying or intrusive or
Yeah. Hey, you can reach out to me. A matter of fact, I am going to text you when we hang up here,
Of
just so you
course.
have my number. But yeah, my phone goes into do not disturb at 9 o'clock at night because
that's
I value
really,
that sleep, and that's what allows me to get up at 4:45 in the morning. So
I'm going to plug for the follow-on session. Guys,
Yeah.
on the next session with Jay, I'm going to talk about why you use do not disturb next time I'm on.
Why not to?
Why I'm going to talk about why you use do not disturb.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the story of the 44 calls I woke up to. On the next episode.
On the next episode. Absolutely. Let's do that. Taylor, thanks again so much. And I'll talk to you soon. Hey, 4 things before you get out of here today. Number 1, thank you for watching. Sincerely appreciate that. It helps with our ratings with YouTube and all that. And along those lines, speaking of helping with ratings, if you could just hit that like button for me, the little thumbs up, and also subscribe. If you're not already a subscriber, if you are a subscriber, thank you very much. I appreciate that. We are trying to grow the presence here on YouTube, and this is you liking, subscribing, and commenting helps with that whole algorithm piece. So let us know. It also helps me know what kind of content you're interested in. And in the comment section, if you just list that one gold nugget that you took away from today's episode, that would really help me out and engage, right? I'll get an alert when you say something about the episode today, when you make it in the comment, and I will respond to you right away. And it'll be me. It won't be anybody else, I promise. And also, I can't let you get out of here today. This is point number 3, I think. I can't let you get out here today, but highlighting this affiliate for us, Deal Check, incredible piece of software. Whether you're doing burrs, you're doing fix and flips, you're doing buy and holds, and buy and holds is single family and multifamily. I used it last week to underwrite an 8-unit deal, and I'm going to be using it for any of our properties up to a certain number. Probably after the 50 range, I get my real heavy duty calculator out that I'll use that, but I'm also going to then take that and put it in the Deal Check, because the graphs that and just the amount of data they put into the reports that you can provide banks. Hell, I even sent one to a seller. I was like, here's the number. I know you're probably not going to be happy about it, but here's why I sent it to you, because I'm trying to hit these numbers, and we're currently negotiating on that deal. So we'll see what happens. But we have an affiliate code in the description below. Make sure you use that. If you don't, just go to dealcheck.io from any browser, and you can be able to sign up there. Signing up is free, right? So you can use it. You only start paying for it once you need to start unlocking pieces of software. For what I do with it, I'm a buy and hold guy, so from what I need, it's $5 a month when I use the promo code W2CAP. So make sure, whether you use our affiliate link or not, that you use that promo code, because it's going to give you 25% off either the monthly subscription you sign up for, or the annual. They've got 2 different options. The annual gives you a little bit better discount anyway. The 4th thing is Operation Underground Railroad. If you've listened to anything that I've been doing for the last year, you know that I highly support this organization. Again, the promo code W2CAP, you can text that to 41404, and you're going to get an immediate response link back to our fundraiser page, so you can see what we're doing for them. But also from there, you can hop over and see what all they're about. Highly recommend you follow these guys on social media and everything like that, because they're just ridding the world of not only human trafficking, but more specifically child sex trafficking, which is the most disgusting thing that I can ever think of, that this goes on. My heart goes out to those kids, and that's why I support them, right? Having 3 of my own, I just can't imagine them being in that environment. I'll give you a bonus. Okay, that was the 4 things, right? So, like, follow, subscribe is number 1. 2, deal check was number 2. I think I'm losing count here. OUR was number 3. The 5th, whatever the next number is, the 4th or 5th thing, is my hat has been crooked this entire time, and I'm not gonna do anything about it. It's fine. It's okay. All right. On a serious note, let's get to work.